Yeah.
Here at PNC Park. And right now, let's go to public address announcer Tim DeBacco.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain standing? Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem is two-time Academy of Country Music Award winner, Carrie Underwood.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes
Ed born as Butler.
Butler?
Yeah.
And you were born in 1913.
Not so loud.
President was Woodrow Wilson. That's a long time ago.
That was 93 years ago.
What did your mom and dad do?
My mother, well, she immigrated from Syria, and she was more of a housewife, and my dad worked for Standard Steel for about $2 a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason they found Lindora was the family there?
No, at that time, I think 11 million immigrants that came to this country.
Right.
And they put biggest farm down in Lindora. They had what you call Red Row. They had 3 rows of shanties. There's 4 families each building there. And that's what they already had them a job there, at the Standard Steel there. Pay wasn't too high, but $2 went a long way.
How'd you meet your wife?
I don't know. I was walking down the street, some lady hit me, knocked me down. She said, "You're my man." No, I was roller skating. No, she was roller skating. I said, "Hi, baby." She came up to me. She said, "You're fresh." I gave Steve one of them tapes I was on. I was on 4 programs, and I told her I met my wife. I say, and next day she back there again, and she called me fresh. And Fatty, she stopped. She said, "I never seen a man like you in my life." She said, "You're the most." She used words I never heard of. At that time, I didn't even know what crop was. I thought it was something nice. But anyway, then she started going out with me. What made it bad? Her dad hated soldiers. So we had to keep it quiet for about 6 months. They finally took a liking to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
3 children?
3 girls.
3 girls.
One's in Florida, one's in Reno, Nevada, one's in California. Her son is interesting. As my outfit got ready to go into Bataan, day before Christmas, we moved out of the area. Japanese came in, they picked my wife and 3 girls and threw them in a prison camp.
Oh my gosh.
There for 3 years. Yeah.
How does one get from Lindora, Pennsylvania, over to Manila? How did that happen?
By plane.
Good answer. Now this was, you were drafted?
At that time, there was no such thing as a draft. I went in 1932. When the war broke out, I had 9 years in the Army already.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We didn't have no drafts then.
Why were you stationed in Manila then? Had you been selected there? Did you, since you were...
Well, Cricketer is it's a coast artillery.
Right.
I was with the 31st Infantry. We was the only infantry regiment in the whole Far East. Our battalion was stationed in the walled city, and 2nd and 3rd battalion near Jones Bridge, right in the city of Manila.
Right. From Manila, talk to me about your story now. The story, you go from Manila, you end up in Bataan. Talk to me about that.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
I got 7 hours.
Well, you'll be surprised. So do we. But go ahead.
Well, I was stationed in Panama. I love the jungles there, but you got away from inspections and all that, guard duty. Plus, I did a lot of guard duty in Panama Canal. Then from there, I was signed 18th century.
Right.
Then I put in for China. When the Panay was sunk in the Yangtze River, you weren't born then.
No, I was not born then.
No,
I know what you're talking-
1937.
Yeah, no, not quite.
You got that part?
Yeah, but I'm with you in 37.
Okay. When the Panay was sunk December 1937, the Congress in Southern here was going to declare war against Japan for that incident. Actually, Japan had nothing to do with it. A colonel tried to take over Japan, and they shipped him right to China. He's the one ordered the attack on the Panay. In fact, the Japanese government threw him in jail for 20 years. Then from there, came back to the 3rd century. One day I said to report to headquarters. I report to headquarters. Major said, I hate this. He said, goodbye, good luck, when we serve together again. Not Joe sent in the Army.
Right.
I said, I hate to see you go, Major. He said, no, you're going. What? So here I'm on the ship. I ended up going there. That meant before it was good. You buy a bucket of shrimp for 50 cents. And these 2 years later, boom, boom, Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Then from there, we went to bivouac, then I shoved us right down to Bataan. And that's where the battle started.
It would have been just another Sunday, another quiet Hawaiian day of rest, while the turmoil and pain of a great war in Europe was, in fact, a half a world away. The great ships of the Pacific Fleet lay at anchor, the pride of America's Navy. It could have been just another Sunday, but it wasn't. It was Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, and for Americans, their war had just begun. .360 planes of the Japanese fleet strike the island of Oahu, sweeping devastation and chaos amongst the American warships bottled up in the harbor. In desperation, pilots and gunners alike scramble to their planes. Too late to stem the wave upon wave of determined Japanese pilots as planes and men and ships suffer great wounds of battle, and in some cases, like the Arizona, simply disappear in a mighty explosion and slip beneath the water forever, taking her men with her. By sheer good fortune, 3 carriers of the American fleet are at sea that fateful Sunday morning. For the moment, the Enterprise, the Lexington, and the Saratoga are all that stand between the shores of North America and the dedicated aims of the Japanese Empire. That and a handful of submarines are given the awesome task of standing watch across the vast Pacific and holding fast, whilst a hurt and confused nation is to catch its breath and prepare to defend itself. The initial victory over the Americans inspires the Japanese war machine as they sweep across Southeast Asia and the Pacific. To an exact and well-planned timetable, the combined air, sea, and land forces of Imperial Japan set in motion a strategic military conquest of Asia and the Pacific. Victory follows victory. Japanese attack planes quickly establish air superiority throughout their rapidly expanding empire. The pride of the British fleet in Asia His Majesty's battleship Prince of Wales and the battlecruiser Repulse go down in less than an hour of fierce bombing. The great naval base at Singapore suddenly becomes a base without a fleet, their guns pointing seaward. They are no match for the Japanese, who rush southward through Malaya, swallowing the great port city with hardly a pause. They march across Thailand and Indochina and meet resistance at the Burmese frontier. What was initially to be a rearguard action becomes an uncontrolled rout as panic triggers a bloody retreat of British, Burmese, and Chinese troops. The great oil fields of the Dutch East Indies are swept up as part of the giant prize of war. The combined might of militant Japan is relentless and seemingly invincible. From Manchuria and China's great coastal cities to the tip of Alaska, to New Guinea, to Australia, to the border of India, the net of Japanese conquest spreads, its pattern and seam without flaw, except for the Philippines. Tokyo had allotted General Homa a schedule of 50 days to crush the combined U.S. and Filipino troops and secure the Philippines. The 8th of December, 1941, scant hours after the attack on Pearl Harbor, 108 bombers with fighter escorts strike Clark Field and obliterate most of the B-17s and fighters sitting idle or hangared. By December 26th, Manila is declared an open city. Douglas MacArthur, overall commander, has ordered all troops to Bataan Peninsula and his own headquarters to the island fortress of Corregidor. Scarcely a month has passed. The peoples of Asia, the Japanese have often found ready supporters amongst the European-dominated colonies, but they had counted wrong on the Philippines. Filipino and American fighting men, their backs to the sea, take a stand across the rugged jungle terrain of Bataan and doggedly withstand hunger, disease, and the amassed might of Japan's finest soldiers. 50 days becomes 2 months, which become 4 months, and still the surviving guns of Corregidor offer support to the battered men of Bataan. Those few ragtag remnants of fighting men who pay a bitter price for the most desperately needed commodity in the early months of the war with Japan, time. Remaining defenders of Bataan, racked and ravaged by the wounds of battle, hunger, and exhaustion, surrender and are ruthlessly submitted to a suicide death march.
At that time, 85% of the men had malaria or dysentery. We didn't have no more food. Here we're trying to feed 100,000.
Right.
Americans, Filipinos, all the civilians came back, over 30,000. We had to feed them. Didn't have no more food, so Japanese threatened General King to kill everybody in the hospital.
Right.
Well, King had to surrender. We was ready to defeat it, you know. So then that's it.
What was the mood in the camp at the time? I mean, here you are, you're given, you literally have to surrender yourself and with no expectation of...
Well, we didn't have no food left. We had to surrender.
Right.
Another week, half the guys that died from dysentery malaria anyway.
Right, right.
See, the whole trouble with that thing showed some of these captains, I don't know what they're thinking. They say destroy all equipment except the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
They did, except Joe Schlack's group. They saved all their trucks and they drove over 1,000 soldiers into camp. If we had enough trucks, we could have taken all our men also to camp. Avoid the death march, see?
So the death march started in April 9th, 1940?
Yeah, right.
Did you know where you were going? Did they give you any sense as to...
No, we didn't know. All said we are moving.
Right.
See, when we surrendered, the Japanese are so confused.
Right.
They start banging us in the head, bang, shoving us. They're funny. They got us straightened. We marched out in the columns of fours.
Right.
And that day, the heat was so hot, 104, 105 degrees. You know, you can't, if you have malaria, by golly, you get some of the heat, you're going to feel it.
Right.
That's what happened. So out we went. Then start all the deaths going down. I've seen my buddy, Luther McAvey, he fell down, boom, boom, they shot him, and McKenzie, they clubbed him. I've seen Colonel Ball get hit in the head. There's one spot, one of the soldiers fell in a hole. I got that mentioned in the book here. Fell hole, the Japanese guards, they brought two of the men over. They told two of our men, bury him. They refused because that soldier was alive yet.
Right.
Then they had to shoot the whole three. I told about the tank crashed into the guys, all that, see. That was rough, but the roughest part was hitting camp.
Right.
See, after death march is over.
And the actual death march itself was about 6 days, right? The
You're
march was about
right.
6 days.
Yeah.
And you ended up at Camp O'Donnell?
No, first we hit San Fernando. Temperature was 108 degrees that day, steel boxcars. They put 100 men each boxcar. Men suffering, screaming, we need air, we need. If a man died, he couldn't fall down.
Right.
Oh,
I got it. Keep talking. I'm sorry. I'll hold it. I got
you're
it.
good. Thank God for that.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
If a man fell down, he couldn't fall down.
Right.
We were so tight, we was holding him up. Then from there, about 4 or 5 hours later, the train stopped. We got in campus. One thing is, I want to thank the Filipinos. The men, women, children rushed out there with food, water, bananas, eggs to give us. We was a carping heroes to them people.
Right.
But Japanese ended up beating them, hitting clubs, chasing them away. Then from there we end up at campus. Now we had to walk another 8 miles towards camp. When we got to camp, we looked and said, oh my God, no. NEPA shacks, roofs leaking. We had to stand at attention. Imagine after all them days without water, we had to stand at attention near a spigot, wait for the Jap commander to come in there. Finally, he came up there. He said, I hate all you Americans. You're not going to like it here. Then released us, 100 men to camp. The bamboo slats was a bunker, it cut right at the split bamboo cut in the back. We didn't have no blankets or mosquito bars, not like that. Our biggest trouble was men defecating all over the place there. Then we started losing 20, 30, 40, 50 a day. Our camp commander asked for aid, medicine. They smashed them right in the face there.
You were there until really February of 1945, right? About 1,000 days you were in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
How did you possibly keep your spirits up?
I don't know. In the books, I had a good sense of humor. I guess I'm one of these older guys that I was making out rumors where guys that land on islands that wasn't even such islands. That's how they waited for news, and I give it to them. Well, actually, that book, Bob Wise Surgeon, you ever get that? It mentioned how I built up the famous cafe, so the men wouldn't eat out in the rain no more. So I've been to lean-to till I'm NEPA shack, see? Well, that's all they go around. What's the latest? If somebody tell a rumor and the other guy said it's not true, he almost got beat up. they wanted that good news, see? And that's what we live for. But for I'm concerned, I was that way. If I gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. If I go up to heaven, the Lord said, you don't want to hear it. Then if I go downstairs to the devil, he don't want me either. So where am I going to go? I got to be somewhere, right?
You mentioned how you felt towards the Filipinos, that you felt a strong feeling of affection because they tried to feel it for you. Were the Japanese, obviously they were your prison guards. Did you have any relationships at all, any conversations with these guys, or was it just so?
With the Filipino, you mean?
No, this is the Japanese. These are your prison.
Oh,
It was their.
oh they try to be hard because if they see they were probably treating the Americans good, they go to front lines. That's what they want, though. We had one try to give us the news. He said their ships sailed into Colorado, and they have taken San Francisco, and said soon they'll be in New York. That's the kind of propaganda. And then the Japanese guards try to give us the real facts on that, see. But actually, they were afraid to open their mouth too much.
Right.
But you know, they'd get beat up. You heard the old saying, general beats a colonel, colonel beats a major, major beats a captain, major beats a lieutenant, down a sergeant, down a corporal private. The private don't know who the hell the kick, he kicks a pig. And that's the old saying was, they're afraid they'd get beat up.
How did you get news? Did you get any sense of what was going on? Radio, was there any communication at all?
We didn't have no radios or nothing, Cap.
Right.
Nothing.
So literally for a period of time from April of 1942 through January of 1945, you had...
Well, now and then, they released information. People thought it was a propaganda. See, I just am a Japanese, we used to have our own Americans drive a truck to come around with a Japanese guard. See, Japanese couldn't even drive a truck.
Right.
They get in, they got a newspaper. It's in English. Said headlines, large American forces repulsed from Vandover Island. Page 3 said Japan they didn't have more use for Vandover Island. Why we know they got to kick the hell out of it.
While there, did you ever entertain any thoughts of just trying to bolt, leave, run away?
Well, let me explain this to you. A lot of us could have got away, but if one man escaped, they shot the other 9 men. So one day, 3 officers crawled through the ditch. Commotion brought the Japanese guards. They grabbed the guards. They beat them up. A couple days they shot them. So then it came out, we got to have a sergeant guard keep his men from escaping. So Colonel Wallace came up to Captain Weinstein and said, appoint Abrahams. But I had over 9 years in infantry. So Weinstein said, you're the sergeant guard. I said, not me. He said, I'll make you. I said, no, you can't. I'm a patient. He said, how do you like to see Japan? After that deep, really good president, I get your drift. And that was my job, to keep men from escaping. We had one man, they couldn't find him. Japanese guard charged us with bayonets. We found that man by the latrine. The reason why he made 14 trips back and forth, and he said he got tired walking back and forth from his bunk to the latrine, so that he lays right there, see? That's it.
It sounds like one of your roles in the camp was to sort of keep the spirits high among your fellow prisoners. And that did you have a sense of that was your mission? Keep the spirits up because the
well, my mission was to get something to eat. No, I don't know what you call that. Like that. Well, they depend on me because I'm the older fellow, you know.
Right.
See, a lot of boys got there, now the guard kids, all young kids,
Right.
you know, and here I'm one of these older men there.
Did the Japanese guards talk about MacArthur at all? Was he a discussion person, knowing about his prior involvement in the Philippines?
No, they say, this guy's speaking, MacArthur, big card, he didn't stay fight.
Right.
A lot of guys felt safe. Said, wait a minute, you don't have a man like Joe MacArthur be captured. That'd be one of the greatest propaganda you ever had.
Right.
At that time, where Java fallen, Sumatra fallen, Soviets fallen, all the islands fallen to Japanese, it wouldn't be nice to say we captured MacArthur now. No, it's the best thing he got out.
And most of your fellow prisoners felt the same way, that MacArthur, that was the right thing for MacArthur?
No, a lot of the younger boys, they said he should stay and fight, but older soldiers knew what's what.
Right.
Yeah. People have seen the 31st, so we had a lot of old soldiers, been there for years, you know. They like the climate and so forth. But the best thing left.
Did you lose many of your close friends while you were in the prison itself? Some of the people who you came into the Army with?
Oh, not too much. We got 30, 40, 50, 60 a day was dying.
Right.
See, when we left Camp O'Donnell, we left 1,500 Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Then we ended up at Cabanatuan. That's where within 6 months, we lost something like 2,600 men there. Yeah, the men even digging the grave didn't realize they were digging their own graves, so all sick. Yeah.
Then the 6th Rangers show up in January of 1945. Did you know what was going on?
No, all we knew, well, when the shelling took place, we can hear it. Japanese all took off, so we ran on our side. We stole the chickens, ducks, eggs, rice, so forth. We ate good. I gained 15 pounds before the Americans got in there, see. Mm-hmm. Then we heard the radio. We stole the radio. We heard the news coming in. In the meantime, Japanese says, you're all going to die. Just as the Americans get here, you're dead. So that way, we didn't know what was going on, and our biggest thrill was seeing the American planes fly over camp with the fighters circling like that. It's like, 2 days later, they show up again, then we didn't see them for another month. Then finally, boom, 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 boom. That's when the Americans made the landing. So when they hit camp, we didn't know, but a good thing they laid all night. They seen what camp the building was in. If they could have got us in the crossfire.
Sure.
They knew where it's at.
Ago, when I landed on your soil, I said to the people of the Philippines whence I came, I shall return. Tonight, I repeat those words. I shall return.
October 20th, MacArthur again stands off the Philippine shore. As the first assault wave hits the beach at Leyte, it bears all of MacArthur's hopes and plans since Corregidor. It's gambling that Leyte is lightly held. The next days, even hours, will decide the outcome.
twilight, we snuck out. Went to the gate, to the creek, then hit the highway. Our biggest trouble was, we was 25 miles in Japanese lines. Seems funny, not one Japanese tank or plane flew over the whole 10 miles route. Till early morning, one plane spot said, come down this. I said, oh, no, not now. Then he flipped his wing. Then he sent a message. The next thing we had, it's like 14 planes coming in to circle us, protecting us, you know. But biggest trouble is when they hit the American lines, high on the hillside with the American flag. Every man broke down crying. That flag meant home. Yeah.
Let me interrupt Greg just a second, Abie. You actually guys had to walk from the camp through the Japanese territory to get to the American lines then?
That's right. We
didn't take you by truck or something?
No, we got hit the American lines. No, we walked all the way up there. The one guy said...
how far would that have been? Give me, distance-wise, how far would you have had to have marched?
Well, between 25 and 30 miles. See what the... One guy said, you want to ride, buddy? We had the slow cowboy cart. So I think they travel about 100 feet to an hour or something like that. Unless they smell water, they go fast. He said, you want to ride, bud? I said, no, I walked out of a tent. I'll walk out of here. You know what the paper had it? I walked out of a cannon, and I called Jeff, my buddy, said, Jeff, what's this deal? I said, Jeff, I said, I'm a writer, but I never heard him. You ever hear that, something like that? I walked out of a cannon? It'd make more sense if they shot me out of a cannon.
Then you finally get into the American sector. What was your feeling? All of a sudden you've survived 1,000 days.
Well, first thing I said, I'm going to Manila. He said, MacArthur said, nobody's going. I said, oh, I'm going. I told son, give me a rifle. Hand me a rifle. I had right Manila. My thought was, I was worried about my wife and 3 girls.
Right.
When I got Manila, they were okay. They're a little starving,
Right.
but they came out of it okay. Then turned around.
Tell me about the reunion. At some point, you see your wife.
No, she said, what took you so long? No, that was it. And then I went right back to camp. I brought more food in, see. Then I was going back and forth. Then finally, all the prisoners of war left. I said, I'm the only guy left. I said, what's this? I thought maybe I had to take out citizenship paper. I was there 9 years. So I asked the Colonel Smith, said, what gives? He said, I don't know, Sarge. We later, same thing. Finally, one day said, you ought to report Usafi. And I said, Tom Force Far East. I reported there. I was escorting in the room the colonel. I didn't see the colonel for years. He was I know he was a captain. Well, he's in charge of the recovery section, all prisoner of war. He seen my name. He's the one that helped me over. He taught me for an hour or something like that. In fact, I even stuck him for dinner. Then he notified MacArthur. He said, I think I got your man. Mm-hmm. Then a week later, I report to MacArthur. Then he said, see all these letters? The mother and father begging to recover their son's bodies. Right. And that's it then. Well, good thing I kept notes and records of all these guys.
I was going to ask
knew
about
that, yeah.
That was your sort of a historian in the camp.
Yeah, if I got caught, I'd have been shot. See what happened on that? Washington, see themselves don't know what the hell happened over there. They can't even tell you who died on the death march. I put killed in action in my duplicate record. That's my that's a younger guy that actually knew what happened, see? Right. They flubbed the dog over it. Then they turned around and said, your son died in a prison camp. Well, since my name appeared in all the newspapers all over, they sent me a lot of letters. And I'd come on, I'll tell the family he died of dysentery, such and such date. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those records now are in Carlisle, aren't they?
I hope they got there. I hope nobody didn't steal them.
I went to law school in Carlisle. I'm sure they're there. Did you ever meet MacArthur?
He's one I went to meet. He's the one who signed me to the job.
Right.
Yeah. He had an air about him, General Sullivan there, Major General Richardson. One of the reports said, what do you think about MacArthur? I said, if he was in Hollywood, he'd been one of the greatest dramatic producers you got, the actors, yeah. Do you believe that? I did say.
Then so you walk into a room and there's General MacArthur.
Right, with the whole staff, and actually the cameras there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He certainly was a known commodity among you folks. And did you know the time when, in fact, he came back to the Philippines? The march, his famous movie production where he actually marches back into the Philippines. Did you know that was going to happen?
No, but I do know if I turn the camera this way, 15 feet, you see the ducks. You mean when he came in?
Yeah.
Where he got his feet wet?
Yeah.
Well, they rehearsed that for half an hour until they got that done, and then he came in from. I'm worried about the Filipino. He's short. The water's up to here. Yeah, if I turn the camera 15 feet this way, you saw the whole thing, the ducks and all.
That's true.
Well, he was a great showman,
Right.
but he was a good general.
I am once again in this land that I have known so long, and amongst this people that I have loved so well. My dear friends, I have returned.
3 years after his departure, MacArthur returns to Corregidor. He has kept his word. But it is a strangely desolate triumph, for few of Corregidor's original defenders still live.
I see that the old flagstaff still stands. Have your troops hoist the colors to its peak, and let no enemy ever haul them down.
Your release, and based on the orders of General MacArthur, your job was to really be part of the exhumation of the remains, and that took you about 2.5 years, didn't you? You were over there.
Part of it. I had 6 natives. That part, they call me American Grave Registration Command. These officers used to be jealous of that. They said, shoot me that. So our General Cole, he said, why should you be there? He said, that's Abraham's job. He was there, and he knows what it is. He said, you're nothing. He said, that's right. See, my job is this. I had to keep all grave restoration commands out of the area, even the Filipino grave restoration. I didn't want to turn around walking jungles 20 miles and find out somebody dug that grave. You know what I mean? And that's why nobody can touch that body. In fact, I found Japanese graves. There were 600 Japanese trying to come in West Coast. They were all killed. I found a cemetery. And I said, well, if I don't report to MacArthur, nobody will know about it. The Japanese government asked MacArthur, he wanted the bodies brought back. So my Filipino says, yeah, let's get them out of there. They pollute the soil. Then Japan wanted to give me a medal for humane act, because I don't want nothing part of Japan.
An interesting incident occurred while you were doing this exhumation process. You actually had a Japanese major come out and surrender to you. How did that happen?
No, it was. In the hills over Randy, while I'm digging up the bodies. They see me there digging bodies.
Right.
See, this is way after the war.
Right.
And then this one Filipino Japanese said, Japanese want to surrender to you. I said, what are you at? Said, Tehran. I said, okay. So my man said, you don't go in there, danger. I said, what do you mean danger? They know the war's over. So I went back in, I met the major and the captain. When you look at them, their skin is yellow. They had malaria, dysentery. They stunk high heavens. See, they're starving. I said, tomorrow morning, I said, I am going to get troops here to get you out of here. I had to keep a secret. They didn't want to surrender to the Filipinos.
Right.
See, that's why they want to surrender to the Americans. Well, I'm the only American down the radius of 100 miles. See, close to the Americans, there was the San Fernando. So
right.
I got them to surrender.
It wasn't just one guy. How many people surrendered to you?
Well, history, picture and all, I did 137. They made me a big hero. Actually, it was only 27. Yeah.
But
They weren't even fit. They weren't even fit. They couldn't even look a Boy Scout. They're all sick. I didn't want to be that kind of a hero, 137.
Abie, could you speak a little Japanese because of the...
They used to get you up, well, say you suck, you got to say yasumi. Or you suck bioki, you know, stuff like that. Then Nazi, you got to bow all the time and say arigato, arigato. Then you have we go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Ichi, 1. That's sun, 2. See, go. We had to give signal like that. They get you up 2 o'clock in the morning and say, tomorrow you speak Japanese. They said, oh, bioki.
Responsibility of launching a doomsday weapon of such significance that a single device can obliterate an entire city in the pause of a single breath. Are the lives of 100,000 civilians a justifiable sacrifice for the sake of saving perhaps other millions? It will become the rhetoric of history. The 6th of August, 1945. The Enola Gay at high altitude will drop from its open bay an atomic bomb over the city of Hiroshima. In a flash and rush of burning wind, 78,000 people will die. 3 days later, Nagasaki suffers a similar fate. From that moment forward, the structure of war and world politics will have changed forever.
In 1945, the guns of World War II grew silent. Around the Allied world, the mood was one of orgiastic joy. In dozens of POW camps, the joy was tempered with a grim determination to find justice. As the first realization of liberty sank in, prisoners wept, shouted, laughed, sang national anthems, broke out hidden flags, snake danced. Rumors said enlisted men would get new Fords, NCOs, Mercuries, officers, Lincolns. Find 3 classes of war criminals. In Class A were Tojo and top policymakers. In Class B and C were men who ordered atrocities, allowed them to happen, or committed them, such as Yamashita and Hama. All pleaded not guilty. But the quick execution that had been meted out to Generals Hama and Yamashita. These military commanders had been tried in the Philippines for the murders on the Death March and in Manila. General MacArthur, humiliated in the Philippines in '42 and smoldering vengefully against the generals that had fought him there, tried to see to it that no great jurists, lawyers, or legal niceties impeded the judicially illiterate military tribunal he appointed. It was a race to execution under rough and ready rules of Class B and C trials.
You would know in a civil trial in such a place in the United States, those rights really didn't exist in a military trial.
The American lawyers shanghaied for the defense infuriated MacArthur by bitterly challenging irregularities under American and international law at every step. Going all the way to the United States Supreme Court, they lost the appeal for Homa. But in a scathing dissent, Justice Murphy wrote, "The enemy has lost the battle, but destroyed our ideals." In Manila, the sentence was death.
Mrs. Homa went to Douglas MacArthur, pleaded for her husband's life. Now, MacArthur did not grant that wish, but he did change the method of execution. Originally, Homa was scheduled to be hanged, but with MacArthur's change, he was shot.
Yamashita was hanged. Many of the other 5,700 B and C list prisoners were tried and executed within a week.
Which is an introduction to the next subject I want to talk about, and that subject is your involvement at General Homa's trial. So we're going to stop for just a second, and we're going to show a movie.
The English and you and I, but during the trial, he was always using an interpreter. He was at the Church of France in England. But when I was on that trial, he was asking Homa all the time. Okay, go ahead.
Start.
Tell me a break.
Break. How did you get involved in one of the first military tribunal cases ever? How did they find you, Abie, and say, we want you?
Actually, I wasn't invited. I was ordered by John MacArthur.
Right.
Well, as I says, I'll tell you about how many guys didn't make the death march.
Right.
Well, during the trial, they asked the Americans how many died. Many, many died. How many? Many, many died. That's all they can say. Then after the trial, John said, go into Bataan, bring Abraham in. Sounds already in blank of Bataan. He said, you got to come in against the Homa trial. So I got in, I'm listening to all these guys say, said, oh, many, many died. So Major Skeen, which he was right beside Homa there, he came up and said, well, first Homa looked kind of funny. I got there, all the reports got around me in newsreels. Lights came on, newsreels working on me. Homa asked Major Skeen, who the hell's that guy? Well, the Major Skeen said, you like the rest of these guys. You want to say how many died? He said, I told you established so far, many died. I said, sir, I'm not going to tell you nothing about death march. I'm going to tell you how many bodies I just interred. Oh. And I started telling 3 here, 4 there, so forth, so forth. So that was it. Not you, I'd be the one who had to be actually testified. The facts remain. I'm the one that disinterred the bodies.
Right.
So who else got to be?
When you walk into the room for the first time and you see General Homa, that's the first time I assume you'd seen him.
No, not first time. Well, I seen him sit at the trial asking Major Skeen about who I was.
So that's this picture.
That's the picture I had in my book.
Yeah. But that's the first time you'd ever seen Homa. You never saw him in any of your prison camps, did you?
No, that's during the trial. I says, I never seen him.
Right.
I wanted Homa tried for death of O'Donnell, not at camp, not on a death march.
Right. What did you think when you saw him? You walk into the courtroom for the first time?
Nothing.
Nothing?
My mind in fog. I'm digging the body, so there's the guy there. I'll just say like Yamashita showed there the hunger, but what was that? It was nothing but another bamboo trial.
Right.
Yamashita took his 100,000 men 100 miles up the hill to Baguio. Japanese Navy and Marines wasn't under Homer's command. They raped and burned Manila. Who did they hang? Yamashita, 100 miles away in the hills, and them not doing it.
Right.
That can't go. Just like it's, I'm the only man that ever knew this, because I heard it during a trial. There was a colonel came up to 2 lieutenants, and Major Skeen said, I don't want to defend Homer too good, but of course they ain't gonna like it. Well, hell, he's already convicted even before the trial. I'm the only guy who heard that. Good thing I was right there. Say, that's what you call a kangaroo coat.
Did you?
That's it.
Here's a couple of other pictures of. This is from the trial in Japan, but they were both Bataan Death March, and their names are on the back. And I just wondered if, for some reason.
Yeah, but I said, Lord, these guys weren't even on death march testifying.
Right.
But during the trial, I can't even tell you name one guy.
Right.
But my book, I mentioned all the names in that thing.
Right.
Oh, this guy phony.
Which guy's that?
Sam Moody was nothing but a stinking private in the Air Force. He got out of prison camp, they would give every man one rank. He told everybody he was a staff sergeant, they promoted him up to tech sergeant. That phony baloney.
Okay, what about, this is a picture of Donald Ingle, another.
How do you expect me to see it with our glasses? Okay. Let me borrow your glasses.
You caught it Sam Moody pretty quick.
Yeah, but I can see the big letters there.
You have given thousands of speeches and interviews.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
And what drives you? What drives you to do all of that wonderful work?
Well, for one thing is, having signed, sold 21 million books, paperback, hardback, so forth. That went all over the world. Got my picture name in it. Everybody's writing to me. They want speaking engagements. Every place I go, everybody wants speaking. They want to know what happened. That's the same way. Like I talked to 100 schools today. I'm telling them all about it. Mostly, you see veteran, thank him for his sacrifice. I gave a talk to front of kids 8, 12 years old. The teacher told me, give it to him. I said, really? I said, okay. They all up and looked at me like that. I told them about death march. I said, you know something, Aaron? There's one GI, has hand tied, leg tied. They put a hose down his mouth, they filled up with water, they jumped, his stomach, his eyeballs flew out. I just watching these kids busting their thing. I told all about that atrocity. When I got through, I said, you know why I told you all that? That's what gave you your freedom. See, at least what I told them, they won't forget it.
You're just unbelievably high level of energy. How do you keep going?
I got everybody at the VA hospital doing it now. 2 tablespoons full of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons full of honey, with water. They're all doing it. All the doctors are, well, it's good for 40 elements, pectin and all that. Well, I see these 70-year-old guys walking. I can't get home, get on my bike. Right. Hell, I'm 92 years old. I'm afraid to lay down in bed anymore. I got to sleep in the chair now. I might not get up in the morning.
What did you think of the movie that they did of that whole?
Well, the movie stunk. I was the only guy invited. The theater, they closed the door before the movie. They gave me a big bag of popcorn. How much? Sweat, are you ready? Well, First place, the Rangers had to move in the hats. You know, you ever see a thick cap?
Yeah.
Baseball like.
Right.
That's what Rangers had. They don't have no helmet. You don't go in an attack like that. The helmet might make noise, it's shiny. When you attack like that, you got to move in fast. Because I was training into that, see. Then show them crawl through the grass. There wasn't no tall grass. But the tower, Japanese want to look down. If a guy trying to sneak in, he can't hide behind the grass. Okay. That's one thing, showed them boom, 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 and a lot of workers running around loose with all the lights. With attack like that, it's fast and dark, where the enemy can't see you.
Right.
Yeah. See, in our camp, where I was at, we didn't have no such thing as lights. We didn't see no lights. The only little light they had was in the Japanese guardhouse.
Have you followed, having been a witness at the Homa trial, and that was a military tribunal, not too different than what just went on in Guantanamo Bay. Do you follow this? Are you interested in what's going on currently?
During the trial?
Yeah.
No, I was mostly concentrated into Bataan, the body. See what happens. At night, I had to interrogate the natives. They knew where the body was. They have to meet me in the morning, show me where the bodies were. I had to depend on 1,000 natives like that at night. Then I'd make reports and disinterment reports, and I'd make a map where I recover the body, see? So I wasn't interested in that, see? I want to get the job done and get the hell out of there. Yeah.
Your focus obviously was in Japan, Philippines, the war crimes trial there. Did you at all follow or have any interest in what was going on in Nuremberg?
Yeah, Nuremberg, yeah, we followed it up pretty closely. We've seen the movies where people can believe it, where they executed all them Jewish people, all that. Yeah.
Was that your first introduction to the Holocaust, was through the newsreels?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know and that was part of the evidence at Nuremberg.
Yeah, it showed that one picture with Eisenhower pointing down, showed all the bodies there, and boxed cars and all that, and they said they didn't believe it, see?
Right.
Yeah. Just to tell you, like Apollo 1, our force is going to move into Mindoro, not in Apollo 1, and they Japanese told the Americans, get in the caves and tunnels. They did. They took gasoline, hand grenades, and killed 137. To prove it to Japan, it's in the book here. I got every man mentioned who was executed right there. A lot of names in it, because all these names in that book, over 600 names, none of them guys came back to the States. I made sure none of the living was mentioned in the book, except me. Make sure I get back.
Well, you know, you served an unbelievable benefit to the families, so they actually, there's a record.
Well, I wish the hell I had the clips. I got clips from Stars and Stripe, Acme, Tofu, from all over the world. Then all these mothers started writing to me.
Right.
I got one recently on email. She said, my great-grandmother was worried about the body being scattered in the jungles. I wrote back, no, I said, he died at Cabana 1 on such and such date of dysentery. Now the guy said, he's going to Philippines. He says, my brother's body there in the cemetery. I said, he is. Yeah, well, I notified over 1,000 mothers. See, Washington, said he died in a prison camp. My record, I know where he died. I tell him where he died, what he died from. See, at least that's a good closure. It made him happy, you know.
Oh, sure.
And you come to my house, you see boxes and boxes of lettuce from all over. Everybody thought before that.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. I see you've got the Purple Heart there.
This is a pin. A friend of mine got it by the hundreds. He gives them out. Actually, this is not a military decoration. It's a stamp purple. I don't know where he got it from.
Right.
See?
What else do you have?
This in here, only you have the good conduct medal here. This, they give it to every man retired from the Army, so I don't have a decoration there.
What's the message? As you talk to your students, as you're talking to us today, what's the message of your experience and how it relates to us today?
Well, it depends on a certain groups, you know. Mostly, I tell them, I don't pull a punch at his sort. I talked to over 500,000 school kids already. I tell them, believe in God, or listen to your parents. Most of all, if you see a veteran, go up and thank him for his sacrifice. Not to try to put in the minds of all these kids. See, but men losing legs, so forth. we get students, a lot of people come to VA. I take them, I show them where these guys were legs off and all that.
Right.
See, I said, this is one from playing ping pong.
Right.
Because they don't understand it. You see there the boom bombed. You see your buddies dying, you see your head roll off your buddy's head. That's rough. So these guys get home and said, all them guys didn't do nothing. See? But actually them guys did a lot, they seen a lot. And that's why I helped out ton of veterans. Right now I got $32,000. I'm there 18 years, 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. All my speed games, I got it after I leave here, then usually on Saturdays, Sundays. See, I'm going to be, by the way, I'm one of the guests at that All-Star game.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Hear this beautiful scene in front of you here at PNC Park. And right now, let's go to public address announcer Tim DeBacco.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please remain standing? Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem is two-time Academy of Country Music Award winner, Carrie Underwood.
Oh, sir, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Thank you ever so much for everything you've done for the country and for certainly coming up here today.
When you see other veterans, you thank them too, not only me. I want to tell you the time I was playing basketball in high school. I made 3 baskets in a row. Boy, was I a big hero. I was showing off, my head's getting big, I couldn't get my hat on. So after half's over, we went back on the floor again. Now look, I'm the only guy. She said, it takes 5 guys. After that, I was on the basket. Nobody near me. I was afraid to shoot. No, that's the thing. She said, I'm not the only one. It takes 5 guys.
Okay, no question.
And I never did forget that.
Okay.
Yeah.